watch it again if you lose something or just you don't understand something. But people just always, if you have one question, if you have a doubt, just let me know, okay? Don't let me just go ahead with the matter. And I really need to know if I'm working very good, if you are understanding what I said, okay? If you comprehend and if you agree to. If you don't understand or if you don't agree with some topic, we need to share and we need to discuss about this, okay? And please don't be shy to talk to everyone. And if you don't know how to speak some topic in English, so maybe we can try to speak in Portuguese because we have a lot of Brazilians here. And okay, oh, como se diz isso? And we translate to English and discuss with everyone, okay? But we need to discuss every topic, okay?
Okay, teacher.
Let me share my screen. Just a minute. Okay. So let's start our first course or first class about our course. It's Paleopedology. Okay, here's my email address, but everyone knows. But if you have some doubt, we can discuss. Okay, just need to be in touch. This is the syllabus of our course. So we have 1, 2, 3. Oh, I'm sorry. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 topics in our course. We start to discuss about soil formation factors, how soil formation factors can change through time, across the time, and how this can be evaluated or how can we measure this in paleosols, okay? Maybe we just need 3 or 2 weeks for discuss this topic. After that, we will discuss about soil properties. So we start to describe some soil properties. And these soil properties, they help us a lot to understand how soil change across time, okay? If I have a change of color, what color means. If I have a change of texture, what this means. And we can understand the evolution of landscape by soil, okay? We have to discuss about mineralogy of soils because the presence or absence of minerals is very important, especially in paleosols, because we have some specific changes, but so we have to discuss this. We have some weeks reserved to describe and discuss micromorphology because this helps a lot to understand how soil change across time. We have to discuss about some methods for dating, okay? So carbon dating, OSL dating, beryllium dating, a lot of methods that we can use that can be done to understand when soil change across the time, okay? And our last topic is about genesis in tropical areas. So we discuss about how soils, they evolve in tropical areas that where we live, okay? And I have to start our course with this big question that's very important. What is soil? I asked for everyone to answer in a form, but I received only 4 answers. So I would come back with this question and I ask you to access menti.com. You just need to access your browser and type this www.menti.com and use this code to type just 2 or 3 words which describe soil. Okay, if you wanna open your microphone, it's not a problem. You can open to, or you can type in the chat, but we need to discuss how could we define soil. Okay, so
Okay,
use
teacher.
Menti, open your microphone. Okay.
Okay.
Oh, let me check if it's working, because yesterday didn't work very well. 1308 5th 96. Okay, to me it's working.
Teacher, repeat, please.
Oh, you just need to access menti.com. You
Okay.
can use your browser, and
Okay.
you should use this code. Like with my cell phone, I can see this same picture here, and I
Okay.
just need to type 2 words here, like, okay, soil to me, it's something like blah, blah, blah. And I just need to type here. But
Okay.
present just 1 word, 1 or 2 words, okay? It's enough.
Okay.
Okay, minerals and organic matter, it's quite important to us. If you agree with these words, you can use them too. Or if you think that another word can be better, you can input another word, okay? Okay, let me insert some ideas here. Oh, a natural body and a synthesis of landscape is very good. Loose surface material, okay. Let me insert a word that I think that's quite important, okay. Pad and okay, we saw climate and clay. It's very good. It's very, very good to insert these words. And I said other words that is horizon and pad. So we have a lot of words here. We didn't use the same words to describe soil. And we start with the beginning, minerals and organic matter. So every soil that we can describe in the field, they should have minerals, okay, like goethite, hematite, quartz, kaolinite, but it should has organic matter too. Is it right? Do you think that every soil we can find organic matter or minerals? You can have on soil without minerals or without organic matter? Do you believe on that? Okay, one person, raise your hands. Please, Millie, please share your opinion with us.
JJ, I think that as I said that soils are low surface material that cover most of the surface of land, and
Mhm,
every soil must have inorganic and organic matter for it to be able
mhm.
for plant to be able to grow well on them. And
Okay,
the
okay, Millie.
two, the organic matter and the inorganic matter must like work together for
Mhm.
for the better for the good development of the plant.
Okay, Millie. It's a good definition. It's a very good definition. So I have to ask you, do you think that we have soil on Moon or Mars or Antarctica or in a desert? Do you think that we can find soils there?
Yes, I think that we can find soils there.
And they support life?
Be,
It's not an easy question. It's not an easy question.
it's not easy. It's not easy. But I think
No.
that we can find soil there. But actually, the reason I don't. In fact, I will look. I will search more on that.
Yes, yes. And this concept about soil as a support of life, it's a very old concept definition of soil, but today we avoid to use them because we can find several soils that can support life even in Brazil or even Cameroon. Like if you look like you, if you find some sulfate soils that has very acidic pH, like 3.5 or even below this, maybe they can't support life, and they are soils. Okay, so a soil not necessarily should support life. It can, they usually do that, but sometimes we can't find soils that has life. Okay, so we have to rethink this concept. Okay, but it's good, it's very good. Several people think like you, but sometimes we can find soils that can support life. Okay,
Okay.
or this can be just a recent condition, like some paleo soils. They support life in the past, but today they can't support life. So maybe you can change your idea in this way too. Okay, and
Okay.
anyone can help us to discuss if you think that each soil has organic matter or have they should have minerals. You think that we can find a soil without organic matter or a soil without minerals?
Teacher, repeat please the question.
If it refers
And
to the
do you think that you can find a soil without organic matter? For example, can I
Kind of.
find a soil that carbon is virtually absent?
Mm, can you comment about the isosols? No?
Oh, no, no, no. Can you find a soil without organic matter? That you can find organic matter there?
Mm,
Um, what do you think? I think that each soil, every soil that I describe in the field, they always have organic matter.
I don't understand, teacher.
You don't understand my question?
I don't understand.
Okay. I will speak in Portuguese, okay?
Okay, okay.
Maybe just let me explain to Amanda, and I will share with you, okay?
Okay.
Amanda, a pergunta é: você encontra solos sem matéria orgânica, ou você poderia encontrar solos sem matéria orgânica? Quer dizer, a presença da matéria orgânica é algo primordial para a existência dos solos, ou é algo opcional para a existência dos solos? Entendeu agora?
Okay.
Okay. Millie, please share your opinion. Amanda, think about this, okay? And I ask Millie to share her opinion, okay?
Okay.
Please, Millie.
Okay, DJ. I think every soil should have organic matter. If I take, for example, the case of our tropical soil, the organic matter will, all our soil must absolutely have organic matter because of the forest cover, for example, the forest cover. When litters falls, they decompose, and when they decompose, it's the organic matter that they send back to the soil. And if we take, for example, the case of the desert, in the desert, we also have some sort of vegetation, even though it is not everywhere, but we also have living organism, I think some insects, and when in case they happen to die, they also decompose, and organic matter is sent back to the soil. So I think every soil is supposed to have even it is a little amount of carbon, organic matter. That's my opinion.
Okay. Very good. Thank you. Millie said that each soil they should have even at least a very few content of organic matter. Carolina, Johanna, do you agree? We don't agree with her? Don't be shy.
Okay, it's a interesting question. The definition of soil is not easy. Sometimes I get myself thinking about it, but I think that about minerals, I think the soils need have minerals. I guess that it is the main component of the soil because it can give soil structure, and this is something that I think that soil is a body with a structure that has process acting to create this body. The thing about organic matter, I believe that it is very important, but I also think that sometimes there is soils without organic matter, or at least with very little percentage of organic matter. I had experience in Antarctica during my master degree, and there is soils without or with little quantity of organic matter. But there is a soil, there is a body there, process acting, physical and chemical process acting there. So I think that organic matter is very important, but it has a very important role in soil formation. But I think it is possible to have soil without it.
Okay. Thank you. Miri, you raise your hand again. You want to share another opinion, or?
No, it was a mistake.
Oh, no problem. Amanda?
Teacher, when I was studying in English, when I was studying biology in graduate, I remember I studied about the soil and the importance of the organic matter for the formation of the soil. Okay, in the soil is the part of the matter organic and the minerals. For me, is need the presence of the organic matter for the formation of the soil. I
Okay.
think, but I don't. If that's okay,
Okay.
okay,
Okay, no problem, no problem.
okay,
I asking your opinion,
okay,
and is not an easy question to answer
okay. Mm-hmm,
because soil can be defined from several areas. Like we can have a geographer that
mm-hmm,
defines soil. We can have an agronomist or a
mm-hmm,
biologist that defines soil. So we can have different definitions of soil
mm-hmm,
according to the person who is looking for the soil, it's studying the soil. So we
mm-hmm,
don't have just one concept, one definition that's right, and
mm-hmm.
several others that's not right. Okay,
Okay.
but here we need to think if we can find the soil without organic matter.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
Okay.
okay, thank you,
Okay,
thank
teacher.
you. Carolina, you want to share your opinion with us?
Now, I agree with what Johanna said. I think the mineral content is essential for soils, but the organic matter is not a necessity.
Hmm? Oh, very good. Thank you. Thinking in what Johanna said, maybe we can find minerals in soil because we have a lot of minerals in our earth. Because we have rocks, we have a solid planet, so we have minerals, rocks, and like I can't find something that could be in the surface of Earth without minerals because we have a lot of them here. So maybe they are present because we have a lot of them, but they are not necessary to. Maybe we can find a soil without minerals, but maybe it's quite very hard to find some of them. Like it's quite hard to find soils without organic matter. As Johanna said, she needs to look in Antarctica to find soils without organic matter or a very little quantity or content of organic matter there. So, okay, this looks like a soil. Everyone says, okay, this is a soil because we can see horizons, we can see layers, we can see paths here. We can classify the soil so we can, of course, everyone agree this is a soil, but when I analyze then the samples in the lab, I can't find organic carbon. So, okay, what the hell is that? I'm sorry, but it's not a soil because it doesn't have organic carbon. No, it's a soil, but the quantity is very low or even I can find. We said that's virtual or absent of organic carbon. So organic matter, it's very important to aggregation, cementation, several processes depends on the organic matter, several soils depends on the organic matter, especially the oxy soils, the fertile soils, they needs a lot because they don't have a lot of negative charge in the soil, but we can find some soils without organic matter. Okay, and this is very important to us because when I have a paleosol, they can lose all of his or its organic matter across time. I can have like a ferrosol, an old ferrosol that across time they lost all the organic carbon. Okay, so I can find a paleosol without organic matter, and they still be in a soil even if it doesn't have organic matter. Okay, this is quite important to understand. It's why I stress this question here, because we can find a lot of paleosols without organic matter. It's quite common to find them. Okay, but of course we can find paleosol without minerals, because as Johanna said, they are very important to structure the soil. They are skeletal particles, bodies that compose the soil, okay? But organic matter can be lost through time very, very easily. Let's continue. The loose surface materials. Do you agree that every loose surface material, every loose material in the surface is a soil? Do you agree with that? Midi, you put this word and you talk about this. You think that we have another material in the surface that's very loosey, but it's not a soil, can be another thing? It's a good question, but it's not easy. I don't like easy questions. Everyone, Amanda, Johanna, Carolina, do you think that each material, every material, all the materials in the surface that has a loosey texture, they are soils, or they can be another thing?
You ask if the all soils are loose, okay?
Oh, not now. This is the next question. But now, now I'm asking if you can find another material in the surface that is very, very loosey. You can broke this very easily. Like I can take some of this material and broke this, but it's not a soil, it's another thing.
Yes, I. But I think this picture not loose, okay? Oh my God.
Repeat, please. I didn't understand you.
This picture you put in the mind don't have a loose surface material, okay?
Oh, yes, yes, very
Yes.
good, very good. But keep this argument to the next question, please. To now, let us discuss if you can find a loose surface material that's not soil. Okay?
Mm, I
Can you
think
find?
I think this loose surface material is soil, okay?
Okay, okay. But always,
I think yes.
yes. Oh,
Oh
someone
yes,
raised.
can be the sedimentary.
Yes, Mary, it's very good, very good.
Yeah.
We can have sediments, and
Yeah.
sediments are not the same of soil. How
Mm-hmm.
can we differentiate them? What is a sediment and what is a soil?
The presence of the organic material. I think.
Wow. It, but we can have sediments with high content of organic matter, like in
Mm,
soils. We can see a lot of layers with organic matter.
okay.
Uh-huh.
I
Carolina, please.
I think soils have to under to go um, to undergo pedogenetic process that's not necessary for a deposit or sediments, for example.
Very good answer. But how can we see this in the field? How can I see that this body he suffered some process that create soil and didn't produce sediments in the field. How can I say that? Okay. Midi, you open your microphone, please, if you want to share your opinion, okay?
JJ, actually, I didn't get the question very well. I don't
Okay,
know.
okay.
You were trying to
Let me.
ask if do we have other material which can be loose, but it's not soil. But it's not soil.
Yes, yes. And Carolina said that we can have sediments, like the sediments are not soil, but they are surface materials that are loosey. Okay, okay. So we can find some materials in the surface that are loosey, but they are not soils, like sediments, okay? And I asked you, how can we differentiate soils from sediments in the field? How can we define what is soil and what is a sediment in the field, okay? How can we differentiate them? Think.
Teacher, I can answer.
Please, please, Amanda.
The difference, the main difference is the no, morphological characteristics can be.
Explain how you can use the morphology. Yes, it's not easy to describe them.
Oh
It's
my
not
God,
easy.
the color,
Yes, yeah,
the structures, the difference in the layers in the horizon,
yes,
um,
yes.
can be
You,
I don't know plasticidade in English, but plastic, I don't know. Um, and
plasticity.
yes,
Okay.
plasticity
Mhm.
can be.
Some of these properties, they can be used like plasticity and color. We can have both sediments and soils because sediments has color
Okay.
too, and they have plasticity, or they can be sticky or non-sticky. It's not a problem. But structure, it's a very good
Mm,
property.
okay.
Structure,
The
it's
main,
something that, oh, I'm sorry.
the main properties.
Yeah, I'm not sure that's the main property, but it's a very good one. Good. It's hard to define this. It's a hard question. Why? Because some soils, they doesn't have structure.
Mm-hmm,
Some
okay.
soils we can't find structure,
Mm-hmm,
but majority of them we can find. So structure, pads, aggregation, organization of the primary particles, it's a very good point to define soil, because
mm-hmm,
soil should present this in a very weak way, but they should be there. And sediments, they don't present a structure.
okay.
So I
Perfect.
can differentiate soil from sediments using several properties, and one of them is structure.
Okay.
If I'm looking for structure and I find, okay, this is a soil, okay.
Mm-hmm, okay.
But if I don't find a structure, so should I looking for another properties like horizon? Can we define a strata of these materials? They have some organization? Okay, they have. So maybe this can be a soil. And Carolina said about some process like glaciation. Glaciation process that just happens in soils, or pedalization, or lateralization, or ferralitization. So we have some process that we can find in the field, and okay, we can differentiate this as a soil from another thing that's a sediment. Okay, so we can find loose surface materials that are not soils. We can find some of them because soil is not so easy to find, although we find a lot of them in earth. Okay.
Okay, perfect.
And the second question using these words is, every soil is loosey. We can find soils that are cemented. We can find some bodies that are very, very hard to break, and they are not loosey, but they are soils because they have pads, they have horizons, they register processes that happen in the past or in a recent past and create and form the soil. So the majority of the soils are loosey, but we can find a lot of them that are not loosey. They are very hard to break. Okay, so these are good words. We can find a lot of soil that are loosey, but we can find some of them that are not loosey. Let's look in for the synthesis of the landscape. It's very good word, conjunct of words, because all soils, they are synthesis of the landscape, but some other materials also are synthesis of landscape, like the vegetation cover. So vegetation cover also is the synthesis of landscape, because according to the weather, according to the relief, according to the climate or the parent material, you can find different kinds of vegetation cover. We can find a rainforest or a savanna or a dry forest, okay? And they differentiate between them according to other aspects of landscape. So it's a very good words that we can use to describe soil, but we should understand that we use other bodies, other things as synthesis or synthesis of landscape. Okay. Someone insert climate here. Climate is very good, but it's a soil formation factor. So we can use climate to understand soil, but we have a lot of soils that doesn't follow all the characteristics of the dominant climate there. Like a lot of paleosols that we can find, they have properties that is not following the, they are not following the recent climate. So we can find a lot of feral soils or oxysoils in the semi-arid regions. Like in Brazil, we can find a lot of them in Bahia, Pernambuco, several regions in Brazil host soils that are deeply wetted, but today I found a semi-arid climate, so it's not working. Something is not working. Maybe they are paleosols. Okay, so climate helps a lot to understand soil, but it's not a good word to define soil. It's more a soil formation factor, so it influences a lot of soil formation, but some soils are not so deeply influenced by climate because we have another soil formation factors like time, like relief, like parent material, and they also influence soil properties. Okay? Someone insert this, a natural body. That's a very good option to describe soil. It's a very good definition. But I want to ask you again, we can find a soil that's artificial. We can find soils that produced by men. And these are soils too, or no, this is not soil, this is another thing. What do you think?
Can be repeat, teacher?
Okay, Amanda. Here, someone insert a natural body to describe soil, okay?
Okay.
Can you find a soil that's artificial, that, for example, was produced by man? Could you create soil?
Okay. I think the soil is very natural, but is very common in events and they discuss about the techno soils. I don't know about the techno soils, okay, but I think is a kind of soil very sturdy at the moment, but I is well is more common. They discuss about the people is the think the techno soil is the okay, but is the people that the wrong. Okay, I I don't know about the this techno soil, but I think I don't know, but I think they discuss about this kind of soil.
Okay. Johanna or Carolina, can you help us?
Well, I first understand soil as a natural body, but the human activities is influencing the everything around us, including soil, right? So I guess that there are soils that can be not natural, but I don't know much about techno soils either, but I don't know the limit where I can say this is natural, this is anthropic, because the anthropic influence is in everything. But I guess that has to be a limit, so a soil can be called soil. But in the beginning, I think every soil is natural, and at some points they can be transformed into a technosoil or a soil influence with anthropic influences.
Very good, Johanna. The boundaries are very hard to define, to draw, because sometimes, as you said, the human affect a lot of landscapes and some continents. It's very easy to identify a technosoil like in Antarctica. We can see very easily, but in America or Africa, it's not so easy. In Asia, it's not so easy. But some activities, they help us a lot because we can see bones or we can see gravel or rubber, some asphalt, something like that. So, okay, it's very easy, but sometimes not so easy to identify a technosoil or soil produced by man. It's not easy. I agree with you. The boundaries are difficult to draw, but they are soils. Of course, they are soils. Carolina, could you share your opinion with us?
Well, I think all soils come from nature, and also this what Johanna was saying about this boundary. I'm not sure about the term made up by humans. I guess all soils are somewhat influenced by humans, some more than others, obviously, but um, all soils come from nature. So I'm very um, confused by this term. I have not studied it a lot, but I guess you can find soils that are heavily influenced by humans, but I'm not sure about the term or if it is considered artificial. It
Okay.
like dislocated from this nature made constant.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
I'm very confused about this topic.
Yes, yes. This class, the first class, is about definitions. So it's not easy to use them because several topics we just are like comfortable zone. Okay, so we all know what is soil because we heard about this a lot. So okay, soil definition is okay to me, but we stop to think that we can find several kinds of soil or several properties, and maybe the definition should change across time. And this is very important to us. I agree with you that all soils, they comes from nature and they are changed by humans, and maybe this create artificial soils because we insert some materials that we can't find in nature. So like plastic, you can find this, but you can find in a lot of soils. We can find a lot of plastic. So they are not natural, they are artificial because we have a lot of materials there, or I can change the chemical properties of the material. I can add limestone to increase the pH, and I artificially change these chemical properties, or I can input organic matter, increase the organic matter content in the soil. This is artificial soil, or I can change the structure of the material, increasing the porosity or decreasing the porosity, and I change the soil. I create an artificial property. You open your microphone, please. Mhm.
No, I understood what you said, but I got a. I wanted to know if there is a time criteria for this or not.
No, we don't
No?
have. We
Mhm.
don't have
Like
a
a
boundary.
scale of time.
No, no.
No?
We have some properties like the phosphorus content, the organic matter content, presence of ash, increase or decrease of pH, and content of rubber, or other materials like asphalt and something like that. But the boundary is not easy, as Johanna said. They are not very good defined because, especially in Brazil, we don't have a techno soil group or soil order, and a lot of countries they don't use that, and we don't have a lot of studies about techno soils. We have some, but they are very, very particular studies. They are not so used to describe soils produced by man, unfortunately, in Brazil or in several countries. So we can understand that the majority of soils, they comes from the nature, but humans can change some properties and maybe then create some artificial bodies, some artificial soils. Okay?
Okay, thanks.
Oh, welcome. And we have the words that I insert, the pad and the horizon. They are very good words to describe soil too, because pad or aggregate, it's a word that describes the organization of primary particles. So the majority of soils, we can find this, we can find sand, silt, and clay organized with or without organic matter, forming units that we call pad. And these units, they express the pedogenesis, the process that forms soils, the primary process of pedalization, the formation of pads. So the majority of soils, we can find pads, but some of them we can't find, okay? Like arenosols, some fluvisols, they doesn't have pads. And we should understand that some process, they destroy pads, they destroy this primary and very important organization. We can dissolute clay and we destroy the pads by acidolysis, by high content of acid, or we can destroy pads by an increase of sodium content, like in semi-arid region. So we increase the sodium content and we destroy pads, and we can create some horizons that doesn't have aggregation, doesn't have a pad. But I have just one or two or three horizons that doesn't have a pad, but I have a lot of another horizons in the same soil profile that has pads, so I can see that. Okay, so pad is a very good word to identify soil, but we have to remember that some process, they didn't produce pads, and some process, they destroy their disaggregation. So we have to be careful with that, okay? And the presence of horizon, it's a very good word too, because all soils, they should have horizons. It's a very good definition, because we can't find a soil without a horizon. It's not easy to find, okay? We should look in and see a organization of the particles in a strata, in a horizontal layer, okay? But we should avoid to mix the concepts, the definition of layer and horizon. They are different things, okay? Could you help me? Could anyone help me to differentiate a horizon from a layer? Horizons and layers, they are not the same.
Teacher, I remember the difference between the layer and horizon is the, oh my God, I don't remember. The presence of the um, oh my God, for the genetic process in the
Oh,
or the formation of the horizon and the layer don't without the presence of the genetic process. That's okay?
very good, very good. It's it, Manda. Horizons, they are produced by process that forms soil. So we can have an A horizon or E horizon. So they are produced by pedogenesis, okay? But we can have a R horizon. The R horizon are produced by geological process, like the solidification of magma, metamorphization of another rock, sedimentation of a material, and the diagenesis of these materials. So the R layer, it's not a horizon because it's not produced by pedogenic process, are not produced by process that produce soil, but produce another thing. Okay, it's very good. But just for remember, we should have at least one horizon to identify a soil. Okay, so we need to have a horizon to identify a soil. Okay, because we don't have a soil without a horizon. It's not possible. Okay, we can find just one, but you should have at least one horizon. Okay, here we have a lot of words, and here I present another words. Some of them are present here, like presence of organic particles and mineral particles, the presence of pads and horizons or layers, okay? But here we can have a basic and general conceptation about soil. Soil is a three-dimensional body because we can see chains in a vertical and a horizontal dimensions like this in this picture. We can see a horizon here, a dark color, a white color, here a yellow, here a red with some metals, some plantite, some masses of iron, okay? And we should understand that soil also changes according to the altimetry of an area, like the relief, the altitude, and I can see like here some horizons and layers, and if I look and I just walk to here, the second point, I can find this horizon here, but I can find another horizons. This horizon, they get thicker, okay? And if I walk here to here, I can find some horizons that just disappear like this, and I can find another horizons, and maybe this can be thinner. So the presence of horizons, the properties of soil, they change across the space in 3 dimensions. And we could include one more that's very, very easy to forget, that's time. So body, soil, it's a body that should be comprehended in 4 dimensions, not only 3, but 4 dimensions, because time, including to us, especially to us that we study paleosols, that's very important, okay? But in general, people don't study the influence of time in formation, soil formation. Soil is a triphasic body because it's composed by solid, liquid, and gas phase. So we have 3 phases, and we should remember about this all the time because it's very important to understand several processes that happens or happen in the soil. Soil present mineral and organic particles in different stages of weathering and decomposition. So I can find primary or secondary minerals, like I can find quartz, like a primary mineral, but I can find goethite and hematite as secondary minerals. And the organic matter could or couldn't be present in the soil, and different stages of decomposition and different stages of content. We can find in the majority of soils pads, we can find aggregation, we can find the organization of the primary particles, sand, silt, and clay, but we can find some horizons that we can't find this. We can show, we can identify some paths, okay? And soils, they should present horizons or layers. We should watch this. We should find this in a soil profile, okay? And now I ask you another question. What is a paleosol? Again, please use menti.com, just access menti.com and now use this code and insert some words to describe what is a paleosol, okay? Let me try, check if it is working. Just 1 minute. Menti.com and let me insert 45, 62, 92, 60. Okay. Okay, to me it's working.
This is even harder to define, Professor.
Yes, it's not easy. As I said, I don't like
can
easy
see
questions. Are fast soils. So I will set your words, okay, Miri? They are fast soils. Okay. Insert there. Okay. Oh, you can find a lot of words. Good, good. Period, past soils, time, no conforming, process formation, express past conditions, past format in different conditions. Very good. Very, very good. So let's start about time. That's time. I think that's about past soils. Okay. Paleosols, as we can identify in the name and the term, they are soils formed in a past conditions. Okay. And this is a very good definition, but it's quite general, because what is past? How can we draw the boundary between recent conditions and past conditions? Someone insert different conditions. Do you think that different conditions is equal to past conditions? Or do you believe that past conditions is one thing and different conditions is another thing? So I can have a paleosol that was formed in the past, but when it was formed, we have similar conditions from the recent conditions. Like today I have a wet climate, a wet tropical climate, and in the past I have wet and tropical climate, and this soil was formed like 10,000 of years, 10,000 of years before today, and it's Paleosoil. How can we define what is a past condition? It's equal to different conditions to you, or are not the same?
I think the main difference between the paleosoils and soils is the in the field is possible to difference the order, the different order, of the soils and the different conditions, the formation of the soils. Um, can can be the look soil recent conditions, and the paleosoils have a different conditions of the formation. I think that's I think okay.
Mhm. Okay,
Okay.
Amanda. Okay, thank you. Miri, Johanna, Carolina, do you think that past conditions, we should draw the line and draw the boundary between recent and past conditions, considering a different condition, a different weather, a different climate, a different sea level basal, something like that, a different relief, a different level of water? These conditions, they define what is recent and what is past. What do you think?
Well, I understand soil as the combination of a lot of factors that is responsible for its formation. But sometimes one or two, a few factors is more important for the formation of that kind of soil. So if um, these formation, these factors are not present, are not acting in the current days, we can say like this. So this soil cannot be have formed during this combination of factors. So it came from a different time when the factors were different from today. The time when these have changed, um, we can date somehow, we can find, but um, I think the past conditions seem is like different conditions because soils have an age. Okay, so they are old, but paleosols is from a different condition. Is in the past too, but in a condition that is different from today. I don't know if I'm being clear.
No, I understand. You think that as soil are formed by the interaction between soil formation factors, it's normal to think that the soil formation factor, they change across time. Like you can change the climate conditions across time,
Yes.
and if they change, you can mark, okay, here is the past condition.
Yes, yeah,
Is it right?
something like that.
Okay,
Yes. Mhm.
okay. Carolina, Mili, do you agree with Johanna, or not agree, or you have another opinion?
I think that when the soil forming factors change, you can have that definition of a different condition or a past soil, a soil that could not be formed under the current acting soil forming factors.
Okay, okay. So you all believe that a paleosoil, it should be formed in different conditions from today, from the recent conditions. These conditions can be climate conditions or parent material conditions or the sea level basal or that represent relief, okay, or formed with interaction of different organisms. We'll have different conditions, and this mark, just highlight as a paleosoil. Okay, okay. It's good to think in this way. It's a good opinion. Okay, it's a good opinion. It's a good definition. But so I ask you if you can find every paleosoil only format in different conditions. So we can use just this like a boundary, or can we define, or can we use another boundaries? We can use another properties to identify a paleosoil, like buried. Do you think that paleosoils, they should be buried or they shouldn't be buried? If I have a paleosoil, or if I have a soil that was formed in conditions that very close to our conditions, the recent conditions, but it is buried, it is a paleosoil. Is it a paleosoil, or we don't understand that is a paleosoil? This is another thing. What do you think? What do you believe on that? If I find a buried soil, it is classified as paleosoil, or I should classify it as another thing?
I don't think all soils that are buried are necessarily paleosoils, because they could be buried like yesterday or like just recent with a recent event. So it's not a condition. But I think when a soil is buried, it can preserve its characteristics for a long time, for a longest time than if it was exposed to the climate and environmental factors.
Okay, very good, very good. They can preserve, or even they can change its properties. They can change a lot of properties, and this helps a lot to identify a paleosoil. Very good opinion, very good question. So we can identify paleosoils that they are formed in different conditions from today, from the recent conditions, okay? It can be buried or not be buried. The burying of a soil is just an option that we can find. And as I'm sorry, if was Carolina that said, is Carolina, it's right?
Yes, it was me.
Oh, okay, thank you. Carolina, as Carolina said, the burying of soil helps a lot. Oh, I'm sorry. Helps a lot to preserve the soils, so we can find them in the field, but sometimes they are not buried and are exposed in the surface, so we can find them, and they still being a paleosoil. Okay, so very, very good. And no conforming or express past conditions. They represent what we discussed till now. And the process formation, I believe that people or the person that write this, maybe they want to express that the process formation is not conforming with the recent conditions, the nowadays conditions. That's right, okay. Maybe the definition, what is a paleosoil, was easier, or even we agree more what is a paleosoil than it's what soil. It's quite easy to see that and funny to see that. So I present here some definitions, okay? The first definition that we have to a paleosoil is defined by Polinov. This is the first time that we saw the term paleosoil in a book, and he defined soil as a soils format in past environments, and environments that has past conditions, and yes, this past conditions is equal to conditions different from actual conditions, okay? Another definition, more recent definition, is that paleosoils are old and buried soils, but we don't agree with this because we can find some soils that not being buried even today, or maybe in the past they didn't being buried, okay? So it's not a good improvement of the definition. And we have the last definition. Yes, yes. Please, Amanda.
Now is Johanna here.
Oh, Johanna, please.
I would like to say a little some things about old. I disagree with the word to describe paleosols, because we learned that, for example, oxy soil is very developed because it is old. So all the soils can be old. They have an age. So paleosoil not necessarily have to be old.
Yes, yes. It's a very good point, Johanna, because a lot of people also mix old and well-developed soil. Like if you have a strong structure, the people said old, but it's not. They are very different things. I agree with you. It's very important to stress this, that we can have some old soils, but they are formed in conditions that's quite similar to today, to nowadays conditions. So they are old, but not necessarily they are paleosols. Okay. And the last condition, the last definition, sorry, is that paleosoils can be defined as soils that was incorporated into the stratigraphic record. This is a very good point, and we didn't think in this way in the last slide. What do you think about this definition, that soils which were incorporated in the stratigraphic record or suffer diagenesis, or were converted in a sedimentary record, they are paleosols? What do you think about that?
Teacher, repeat, please.
Yes, yes, Amanda. This last definition, it's very, very usual today,
Mhm.
and we find that soils that were incorporated in the stratigraphic record, or they were converted in sedimentary rocks, they are paleosols. So you can find some sedimentary rocks, but they seems that in the past they are soils. Do you agree with that, or you not agree?
I think I agree because is common the difference than the between the soil in the incorporated sediment in the soil can be this.
Uh-huh. Yes, yes, but you should think it's a good definition, but you should think if we looking for soils that are converted in sedimentary rocks. Now we just find cemented soils. We
Mhm.
can't find a loosey soil anymore, and even they can lost her structure. Okay,
Mhm.
and someone raise her hand. Okay, who raised her hand? Carolina,
Um,
oh,
yes.
please.
Um, I'm not sure. I guess that all soils incorporated into the stratigraphic record are paleosoils, but not all paleosoils have to be incorporated in this record.
Yes, I'm agree with you. But could you explain why?
Because not all soils have turned into these sediment rock kind. Um, I'm not sure how to explain that. It just came to my mind because not all paleosoils we see are um, into this record. It's not a necessity.
Yes, yes. It's easy to think in this way if you think that if we believe that a paleozoid not necessarily should be buried, they shouldn't necessarily be incorporated and converted in a sedimentary rock. Like if this soil didn't been buried in the past, they should be incorporated in the stratigraphic record or converted in a sedimentary rock, because we can't create a sedimentary rock in the surface, like a lot of voids and water. We can't create a sedimentary rock there. We have too much water, we have too much wet air, we have too much voids, we have too much biological activity to help or to allow the formation of a sedimentary rock. Do you agree with me? Do you believe that's why we can't?
Yes, I understand that. I agree with.
Mhm. Oh, okay, okay. But if you don't agree, it's not a problem, okay? Just share
No,
your
no,
opinion.
I agree.
Johanna, what do you think about this last definition?
I think that the concept of paleosol is more about the formation of the soil than the ending of the soil. If you think in the lifetime of the soil, I understand that this kind of process it tells more about the ending, how the soil can be no more be a soil, turning into a rock. So
Mhm.
paleosol is more about the formation when it was formed and when it was um, done. We can say like this. And but I agree with Carolina because I think all soil that was turned into a sedimentary rock is a paleosol. but not necessarily
Yes.
a paleosoil has to be incorporated into the stratigraphic record.
Yes, yes. Maybe the oldest ones, the oldest paleosols, they converted in a sedimentary rock, but we can find a lot of paleosols that are very loosey. They preserved its structure and void, and even we can find biological activity. So we can date and we can understand that this soil was done, was created, was formed in paleo conditions in a past environments, but he's still working, he's still alive, like he's still with biological activity, he's still with water, he's still with a lot of process that is working today. But we can very, very, very easily identify that that soil was not formed in recent conditions. So what I want to say with this slide that we don't have a very good and universal accepted definition about what is a paleosoil. We just have a shadow, we just have a very few words that help us to understand what is a paleosoil, but I truly believe that we don't have a very good concept that it's enough to define what all and embrace all the paleosols that we have. But okay, it's not a problem. It means that we have a lot of work to do, and it's good. It's a good point to us that start working. We are not getting retired very earlier, so we have a lot of things to do. And this is very good. And how a paleosoil, it's just been working in the last decades, so we can understand that we don't have a good definition, strong definition about what is a paleosoil. We even can do this with a soil or even life. The biologists, they have a lot of problems definition, trying to define what is life and what's an organism. So why we don't have problems with defining what is a soil or what is a paleosoil, okay? People, we have to finish our class today. Thank you very much for your participation. I hope that you all keep participating in this class like this. I need to know what you think, what you understand, what you don't understand. I will share some materials, some articles, and some books in that folder that I created in the Google Classroom. Okay, so I ask you to start reading. I will ask, okay, please read the chapter 1 and chapter 2 in this week, and the next week read to chapter 3 or 4. It's not a problem. Okay, I will instruct you which I ask you to read, but the majority of the materials are articles, and I ask you all just read this material because it's very important to progress our class. Okay, so thank you, have a good time, have a good weekend. See you in next Wednesday. Bye bye.
Bye bye, teacher.
Bye.
See you.